It's the 8th of June and we leave Tórshavn to continue exploring the Faroe Islands. We have been extremely lucky with the weather. The light winds continue and give us the freedom to travel and explore at our own pace. We enjoy the views of the mountains as we sail and the different perspective we get from the boat. We are happy to move slowly between the islands and simply soak up the stunning scenery. We are slowly sailing to the island of Eysturoy, where we look forward to visiting 2 new towns that we haven't yet been to by car or by boat. We head to Nordragota, where we've read in the pilot book that there's a new visitors pontoon. We can see it's a narrow entrance, but there's just enough room for us to go in, but unfortunately turn around and come back out because there are local boats already using the pontoon. So we go into the fishing boat harbour and tie up, but check with some of the locals that we're okay to stay there. And once we're tied up, we go and have a look around and take a look at the pontoon where we had hoped to come in at. Fortunately for us, no larger fishing boats were due in, so we were okay to stay the night. It was a pretty little town nestled at the bottom of the mountain. And of course it had its own football pitch, just like the other towns we'd already visited. Having already tried out some of their medium hikes, we decided to give this challenging hike up and over the mountain to Lervik a miss this time. It was a fascinating little town, but we were keen to keep moving on to see new places. The tides between the islands are extremely strong, so you need to get this right. And we use the recommended app called RAK to help us with our passage planning. It's a good job we're not in a hurry as we sail around the islands today, as our boat speed is 0, but our speed over the ground is nearly 6 knots. There isn't anywhere for us to stop this side of the island of Kalsoy. We're quite taken aback by the sheer size and scale of the fish farm processing plant as we turn into the fjord. But once you go past all the industry, the views of the mountains are really still quite magnificent. The road around the fjord here leads to the subsea tunnel across to the northern islands. There is a visitor's pontoon here that we can use, and we're welcomed by the harbour master as soon as we arrive. And then, of course, what we like to do when we get somewhere new is just go and have a look around and get a feel for the place. And of course, just like some of the other towns we've visited, they're out training, ready for the rowing regatta at the weekend. We're also really enjoying the extra light that we get here at 62 degrees north. We find a couple of really good hikes here which give us incredible views back into the fjord and across the town. One is a marked trail that gives us views across to Kalsoy, and this is the one that we'll do today. We've learnt while we've been here that the weather changes very quickly, so we head off anyway, in the rain, on our next hike, up to the waterfall. And again we can enjoy the stunning views back across the town and into the fjord. Now this is definitely the place to stay if you want to get away from it all. The harbour master talked to us about the different views people had about the fish farms and processing plants on the islands. Many people welcomed the jobs and the opportunities that they provided, whilst others raised concerns about the environmental impact on the quality of the water and the sea life. But for us as visitors to their islands, it's good for us to listen and learn the different viewpoints. We move on and use the last day of the southerly winds to sail to the Northern Islands, to the town of Klaksvik, which is the second largest town on the Faroe Islands. It's also known as the fishing capital of the islands, with a high-tech whitefish fleet and processing plants. It looks like Klaksvik are very competitive when it comes to the rowing regatta. It's been great to watch the rowing in each town. It's just a shame that we haven't been in the right town at the right time to see the competition. There is 100 metres of visitor pontoon here, so we have plenty of room. We found what looks like another really great hike that will give us fantastic views across to the other islands. Unfortunately, it's an hour's walk just to get to the start of the hike if you don't have a car. It is a steep hike, but it's definitely worth the effort when you see the views from the top. We take a well-earned rest when we get back from the hike, and we hear celebrations on the street. I'm guessing Klaksvik did very well in the regatta this afternoon. The next day we take the short ferry ride across to Kalsoy, where we then jump on a bus that takes us on a tour of the island. Kalsoy is a long, narrow island, nicknamed the Flute because of its slender shape and single road running through 5 dark tunnels. The bus takes us to the most northern town on the island. From here we can take a walk to the lighthouse and join the other tourists to see James Bond's final resting place. We have to pay to do the walk because it goes across private land and they're having to build a new path to cope with all the people that come here. We're more interested in the wildlife and the scenery, to be honest, but when you've travelled this far, you also don't want to leave feeling that you've missed out on anything. We're lucky again with the weather, and the scenery is spectacular. So of course we climb up to the gravestone and do the touristy bit and have our photos taken. It really is quite difficult to capture the sheer scale of the cliffs around us. We enjoy the views, take in the scenery and watch the birds, and marvel at the clouds as they move across the top of the mountains. After the hike we walked around the small village, but it was very quiet and the shop was closed. There were only the few people that arrived on the bus with us here today. We had enjoyed the first stop on our bus trip to Kalsoy. In the next episode, we continue the tour to see more of the island, including the statue of the Seal Woman, where we learn about another of the Faroe's mythical stories. We also have a few more places we want to visit before we leave the Faroe Islands. And of course we'll start watching for the right weather window, but more about that in the next episode. So see you next time.